Hey guys, so today I'm going to share with you something that's somewhat fun and a little bit of maybe scared to some fact about me. Are you ready? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister. So as promised guys, I have something that I want to share with you guys today, and some of you are going to be very surprised. So I was in the military and I served for 23 years of service, and now I'm retired, enjoying my time, enjoying it. At some point I'll probably get back to work though. But anywho, so I want to talk with you guys today about a specific job that I had. So when I was in the military, I worked in the head and neck clinic. It's called otolaryngology. Oto for the air, laryngology for throat. And so I worked with the ENT doctors. So anything from tonsils to ear infections, anything head and neck, cancer, all of that stuff we dealt, and we worked with a doctor. So one of the things that I ended up doing at some point towards the latter part of my service was working with a specific doctor who was probably one of the top surgeons in the field, but he also did classes for other doctors that came in. These are doctors already, okay? But sometimes they have to do a residency and come through and work in a certain area for a time. So one of the things that we would do is head and neck. So those doctors will come through and they'll be working on donated cadavers, and cadavers are basically people who have donated their bodies to science. Well, for ENT clinic, all we needed is the head. So I had spent many years working in ENT and doing different things and going out and becoming an instructor and just doing different things throughout the military. But imagine how I felt learning that now we are collecting heads. So this was my first time since a long time ago when I was getting my training dealing with a cadaver. I have dealt with a cadaver before, and again, because it's head and neck, all that was in that big metal box that we had to look in with different parts of heads and lungs and brains and all of that. I remember being freaked out about that, and that was like years ago. So here I am now dealing with heads again. So what did that entail? Well, one of the things that I will say is, thank God I was in charge. So that meant not only was I in charge, but I had a bunch of eager young soldiers who for some reason could not wait to go and get these heads. So what that meant was during the time when they were going to have this class, this course, there will be a delivery of the heads. What would that look like? Well, it's not as creepy as you would think, but it was creepy for me because I just didn't know what to expect. It's been a long time. And what it is, you get a call, they will deliver it, and it's just it just looks like a huge package. And it's so funny because we'll go sign off for it. My soldiers are so happy, bring it on this big pallet, and we're taking it in through the hospital, but we'll walk through certain areas. We try to avoid going through the main corridors. So we use like private elevators and things of that nature. But even then, you couldn't avoid people being down in the basement and things of that nature. And it was so funny how people would literally just be walking by and not knowing there are some human heads in this container. Well, once we got back to the area that we're going to be in, now we have to count. I think the one thing I didn't like about it, number one, aside from there being heads, was each head had the name of the person, what they died, the name and the age, and how they died. And I feel like I almost wish they didn't have that, but I think that's one of the ways that they try not to have the person just regarded as just, some spare parts, but it's kind of hard when you see it. So they range from different ages. Most were old. Most died from heart attacks and things of that nature, but there were some that died from other reasons as well. So those things will be somewhat of an imprint on my mind. But anyway, once we got to the area that we need to be in, of course, I have the soldiers just happy. They're like little 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, just can't wait to go in there, and we'll open them up. And I didn't know what I expected. I think I expected something out of a horror movie, but actually it looked almost like what if you go to a store, like a Halloween store or a place where they have a scary aisle and you see this head. The only difference is it doesn't have all the gore and that crazy expression on the face. Completely frozen, of course. And so with each one, the soldiers I'll have the checklist, and they have, each head has a tag and call out the name, the age, whatever, the serial number, all the identifying factors to identify we have the right head. And once we did that count off, then we had to put them in this big freezer. And then they'll be kept there until it's time for this particular course. So the heads were always there. We always had supplies of human heads ready. And whenever it was time for those courses, we'd have to now take out the heads out of the freezer. Again, have the excited soldiers running with me up there. Oh my gosh, we can't wait. I don't know why they were excited, so excited, but for me, I was glad they were, because I was like, I don't want to do this. And so they'll be there. And what we had to do, depending on how many doctors were coming in, we'll take those heads out. And there was a specific station that each doctor will work on that had all the different tools that they will be using for whatever procedures, whatever in the course. And that's pretty much how that was. So we had to take the heads out, and the heads need to be thawed out at least overnight. So we have to take these frozen heads out and put them all at about, there had to be 12 different stations, leave them out there with all the supplies that the doctors will need, and leave them out overnight. Well, there was a housekeeper, this is what I found out, a housekeeper that was new to that particular section had gone in, just the housekeeping, to clean up the area, and she had never been in that section before. The ones before that knew what to expect, but this one was new. And all I know, all I've been told, is that she was absolutely terrified going into this room, opening up the room to probably get the trash or do some little light cleaning, and see a bunch of human heads sitting on top of these stations. Okay, so that had to have been creepy. So yeah, guys, that would be it. And then of course there'll be, after the docs have done whatever they need to do, then there's the whole, now the heads are thawed out, there is different elements there, right? So now they're kind of bleeding a little bit, and all this stuff, and all those things, and all the logistics, that's all we'll say. Everything needs to be cleaned up, and every cadaver, I will say, is always handled with, honor. They're not just discarded and tossed and played with. That was one thing that I never allowed. Even the soldiers, they were excited about it, they were never allowed, or nor did they ever just play with and desecrate and dishonor anyone who's chosen to donate their bodies to science. So guys, that's something, when you donate your body to science, those of you that may do it, you may be helping others, but yeah, maybe a piece of you, all of you. As I said, when I first was going to school for this, it was like, I remember the first time I saw a whole cadaver. It was an old lady. She had died from a heart attack, and everything was still intact, but it was kind of hard for me. It was so hard. I just wanted to get over this part of the training. And that's just one of the things when you're in the medical field, you're going to see a cadaver. They work with animals, but for the most part, it's mostly people who, like for example, when you learning how to do sutures and stuff like that, you use that with like little pig skin and things of that nature. Starting IVs and stuff like that, we work on one another. But dead bodies, or people who have donated their bodies to science, is normally what is used for this. But yeah, so that was it, guys. I was the keeper of the heads at some point, and had very excited soldiers that wanted to help. Well, they didn't have a choice, but they were excited about it. I had 2 young male soldiers that would just run with me. Oh, when they heard it's time to go, they'll run out the clinic and run with me, and they're just chattering together, can't wait. And I'm like, man, I don't understand it. But guys, yeah. So those of you that's going in the medical field, don't forget, it's going to be blood. There's going to be some cadavers. There's some things that you will see. And sometimes it's hard, but you're understanding. And, it's kind of an honorable thing that what people are doing with them donating themselves. I probably wouldn't do it, to be honest. But those who choose to do it, it is an honorable thing. And Yeah, but yeah, guys, it was definitely kind of scary for me at first. And seeing it, it looks fake, but then the reality of it, when you read about each person, you realize, no, this is real. And you know even the most artistic person that creates a severed head for Halloween or for fun, the reality of seeing one and placing them up for research, it's interesting. So, guys, that's one strange thing that I've shared with you. One unusual experience, or one creepy, maybe, fun fact about me. All right, thank you for stopping by, and talk to you soon.